Perfect. We'll call to order this meeting of the Ripon Public Library Board of Trustees today, Tuesday, June 17th. Roll call. I'll start. Mary Mataram.
Doug Iverson.
Jana Fosco.
Lisa Weeks.
Breck Spears.
Al Schrader.
Ben Spring.
Tiffany Brown.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Travis is excused today. Okay, we have minutes from April 15th, April 22nd, and June the 3rd board meetings. Those are in your packet. Do you want to take them one by one? Do you want, everybody had a chance?
Move to approve the minutes from April 15th, April 22nd, and June 3rd.
Second.
Okay. So moved.
Can I-
All in,
Can I just make a tiny correction to June 3rd? My first name was in there as Tracy.
oh,
So-
okay. Okay, duly noted. We'll get that corrected.
Thank you.
Sorry for that.
No worries.
Neither one of us got that. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, perfect. Okay, Ben, you're on. Interim Administrator's Report.
All right, well, most of the past month, give or take, has been focused on preparing for the renovation. And then just briefly take a look at statistics. We've got the updated monthly usage statistics and circulation statistics for the library. There was a bit of a dip in May compared to the previous months this year. Nothing terribly concerning because I know this month with the start of our summer reading programming, we've been extremely busy. For the program that we had, I think it was last week with Mark Hayward, who's like a yo-yo comedian. We had over 111 people come into the library doors in the hour leading up to the show.
Oh, that's
We had
awesome.
some groups from the Boys and Girls Club, we had some groups from Diverse Options. It was a full house. So it was really good to see.
Great.
Let's see, as far as Clover goes,
Maybe you want to explain what
Oh,
Clover is? Yeah.
sure. So Clover is the payment system that we've switched to at the request of the city of Ripon. They wanted to consolidate things, and we have been processing payments through the Friends of the Library. There was an account set up by Desiree. There were just some ongoing issues with the way funds were being, the path that the funds were being taken to get into the library's account.
Tracking.
Yeah,
Done-
finding
yeah.
that tracking was the issue. So we switched to Clover at the request of the city. They set up an account for us that's handling all of our cash and credit card and check transactions, apart from money we take in specifically for library-related fines and fees. So anything that is applied to a patron's library account still gets paid through our existing library computer system. Anything else, though, things that were previously paid for through the Friends, so our copier, our fax services, printing, earphones, and actual Friends of the Library purchases as well, all go through the Clover terminal and it handles cash transactions, checks, credit cards. We've also consolidated things to one cash drawer, which has made things less confusing for staff. Everything seems to be working fine.
Are they doing it themselves or you're doing it for them as they hand you money?
We cannot handle patron credit cards. We cannot legally.
Okay, but
Process.
how about if they pay you in cash? Like, are they entering it in this Clover
No,
system?
we enter
You
the,
have to do
we
it.
enter the items. It's like a list of items, like if you're bringing things up to the store, so there's copiers and, printouts, Friends of the Library purchases, everything's in its own category on there. We just enter the quantities and what items they are. It gives us the total, we enter the type of payment, and then we either do a cash transaction, or they put their card in the machine or use the
So they can use a card.
They can.
They have to do it.
Yeah. Just like you would do if you were at the grocery.
Have you seen it?
Have I seen the Clover?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Why?
I just want to,
Oh.
I just wondered what
It's
it
up at
was.
the front desk if you want to take a look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
It's very similar to the Square system that we were using. The Friends are going to keep the Square terminal, and they're going to use that for their book sales and things like that, since the funds go directly to the Friends organization for that anyway.
So the primary driver behind doing all that goes back to getting the separation between our bookkeeping from the Friends bookkeeping. because everything was running through that one terminal, and then the staff, you know, they had to segregate the money. It was just, the auditor was, you know, it just wasn't good, it was not a good practice. So that was what drove this movement to get this done. So that's something very positive. Renovation preparations.
We are all working very hard at getting things ready for the renovation. We started clearing out, well, last week we had movers come in. They cleared out all of the furniture, really, all the tables and chairs from the nonfiction wing of the library. We have that all in storage. They also took some shelves that the friends are going to be using after the renovation, some tables from a meeting room downstairs that we're going to be using for storage. They did a great job, took care of all that in the afternoon. They also took care of disposing of some furniture pieces that we have that we were having trouble getting rid of and we're not keeping past the renovation. We've started moving and shifting our collections around, and we are closing on Friday and Saturday for staff workday, and we'll be working on moving the rest of the nonfiction collection to the other wing of the library. Hopefully by the end of the afternoon on Saturday, or maybe even by the end of the day on Friday, there will be nothing left in the nonfiction wing except the fireplace, which is just part of the building right now.
So you're gonna fit it all on the other side? Okay.
We've done the math and we've walked around and changed our minds 20 times, but we're gonna make it work.
So part of what happened in advance of that was that there was the meeting last week with the contractor, the architect, the engineering firm, the city, and our staff to meet and determine whether or not the contractor was feeling comfortable with the original phasing plan that was proposed in the bid, which was for the nonfiction wing to be phase 1 cleared out so that that can then become the children's wing. And the contractor asked that we try to make that area available as soon as possible. So that day we got the last storage unit in the area and got the movers. We got the last storage unit that Lydio had in this whole general area. There was one left. It's just up on the southeast side of Berlin. So we got the movers from 2 men in a truck, and they came and cleared all the stuff out that's that won't be used between now and when we open up after the renovation, when it's all done. So all those items had to get out of the building. Ben also was able to get the contractor, these people seem fabulous, by the way.
They're coming in,
Yeah.
well, we asked them if they could come in and do some of the preliminary demolition work so that we would have more space to move some temporary shelving into the wing that's not being worked on in phase 1. And they are coming in Thursday morning, and they're going to take down the existing puppet theater and the archway and get that cleared out by noon. So then when we come in on Friday, we'll have that space ready for us to move some other shelving into.
You can put those shelves up and down? That's what you guys have been doing? Ooh.
Well, yeah, we haven't taken, we've been mostly clearing things off of shelves and kind of shifting things around on the existing shelves, but we will be completely breaking down the nonfiction shelves and moving them to the other side.
Do those break down pretty easily, or kind of stubborn?
Nuts and bolts. We looked into the cost and the feasibility of having a commercial moving company come in and do that for us. The price was close to $20,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And this would be just the first of probably 3 different moves
Yeah.
of material. It
So-
also required extra
Yeah.
demolition work and stuff, it wasn't practical.
So the staff had been working with the idea that this phasing was what was gonna happen, and by getting all those things moved out of the nonfiction, what's left is those shelves all around the walls.
Mm-hmm.
So the stuff that's on the shelving that has to get moved will get moved onto the wall unit, then disassemble the shelving, move the shelving, and then transport the stuff, the books. So it's a multi-step process, but it was almost $20,000 if we had hired Coakley to do that.
Will we be retaining most of the shelving?
Yeah, the vast majority of it will be kept post-renovation.
Yeah.
Are we getting some new shelving as well?
There will be some that we have to add in, I know that was included, that was part of
Yeah.
the plan. For example, the wooden DVD shelving that we have now is kind of like angled A-frames. That was not intended to be used post-renovation, so we'll need to get something specific for AV materials.
There's a furniture meeting coming up after the new director's here, early July. They'll be meeting with the architects
I
to
remember that.
kick that back into gear.
We did do part of that too. We were able to purchase some updated magazine storage and display cases. As part of the renovation project, one of our staff members got an email about a really good sale. So we did save a significant amount on that, and it's replaced the like lift up metal shelves that just, they look clunky, with really nice acrylic display stands, display boxes for all the magazines. Those came in about a week ago. We got everything transferred into those and moved around.
Looks great, yeah.
It's really nice.
So these guys have been working like not crazy.
Yes.
Been getting a
Well
ton
done,
of
Ben.
great stuff done, yeah. Yeah, it's really positive. Yeah, everything on that renovation side is like, that's rolling. Yeah, it's really good. Really good. Anything else?
I don't think so. It's just getting ready for Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Got a plan.
Well, let
Doing
your
as much as
team
we
know
can.
that we appreciate the work that they're putting into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. On to the financial reports. Okay, we've got the city's monthly reports. So we actually have 2 months of reporting here. Primarily because remember in May, we didn't have a regular meeting because we were doing the interviewing. So we've got the April and May financials. I have to say, I'm not clear, and I have not had the chance to talk to the new finance director. I'm not sure about on the revenue side, if you go on the first page of the library fund report, the donations and contributions that are flowing through there at $76,876. This line item for the year.
I would guess that's has to do with the Volker estate, I would assume.
With Volker? But we got
Which one are you on?
250 some thousand from Volker. Yeah, I'm not sure what this reflects. So yeah, I'm just telling you guys, I don't know what that means. And then if you look at the May report, it looks like there was something that was a deduct that actually reduced that amount. So I just really don't understand this miscellaneous revenue report. So yeah, I don't know what that is. So I don't know if that has an impact on accepting these reports. We also have, yeah,
Thanks, Ben.
I just don't know what's flowing through there, because if that was, I don't know if that's the line item where we're paying our invoices from, but then I don't know why it would show up. Yeah. There's gotta be some place that the payments that the expenses that we've had for the project, from a project accounting point of view, but I don't know why that would show up as revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm confused, guys. And I did not look at this in time enough. We just got this yesterday, end of day.
It almost looked like it went in and out, like it was a wash or something. Did they make a mistake?
I don't know, I just don't know. We didn't,
Come on, Baker.
yeah,
I got nothing for you here.
yeah, I got nothing.
You gotta know what the account was.
The only way,
What the general ledger shows.
what do you think?
Do they give it to you like this, or did you manipulate it?
No,
This is what I
no.
get from the city.
Straight like this?
This comes from the finance director.
Yeah.
You know
What's
what
the
that account
director's
is,
name?
48510?
Well, that's what I was checking. So 48510 is the
Is that the city?
generic
finance
library
company?
donations account, and that's what they're using for the temporary
I think it is, but I don't.
OECF payments. So they pay those invoices from that account, and then it will be reimbursed from.
So it is a
donation
wash,
account.
they just moved it through there. Is that
But
what you're
that's
saying?
But where's the
510, the donations and contributions.
48510? So you're thinking that this is the monies that we've paid to, or that the city has paid and then has to be reimbursed from our OACF? So when that money goes to the city, then the city will offset this to bring it down?
The
Maybe?
48510, yeah.
You know, when we've been approving those payments for the project, like the PRA bills and so forth, what we're doing is the city gets invoiced, they make the payment. Then we reimburse them from our investment account over at OACF. So I'm wondering if just none of that.
So which number are you looking at, the 75?
The 75,174.
Mary, what was, how much have we paid
That two
already
of
in
them?
the soft costs?
That might be two of them.
I had that from the last time we were together.
Yeah, how much is that? Was that about 150?
It's on
No.
a different one, that's on a different one.
No, I
Here.
don't know where my notes are for that, I didn't bring that. It was, wait,
Going
guys,
to the
wait.
OACF, you could see.
Yeah, we had paid out, no, I don't have it. Those are the notes from last week. 68, I think we had paid around 68,000 of soft costs we had already paid.
I thought it was more than that.
Wasn't there two?
But there was
We
stuff-
approved one a long time ago, and then we approved one last time, I thought.
Right.
There was stuff, I'm talking about the stuff that actually had already been paid, not stuff that we had just approved that hadn't been paid yet.
Well, maybe if he came and explained this to us, that would be good sometime, after we're settled in, just that, so we know what we're looking at, at least.
Yeah, okay, so I will make it a point of following up with, Sean to, do you guys want me to report back in writing, or do you wanna wait until the next meeting?
Wait until the next meeting.
Next meeting, okay,
Is Tiffany gone now?
I think she has.
yeah.
Okay.
There was also check registers in there too,
Mhm.
guys. And those we should be able to look at and accept the 2 months of check registers. Can we just quick look at those? There is, yeah, there's the April report. Looks like we paid out 5,000 to MSA. What account is that going to? That's going to 52,100. I don't know what that was for, do you?
I think that was like the original, just contracted buildings.
Why would it get booked against 52,100? I wonder. Yeah. 52,100 is professional services, but if it's relating to the renovation, then it should run through the renovation.
Is there only one account number for that?
And I think that's the one that's got the 78,000 in it. It's just a weird title, donations and contributions. I don't, yeah, this is very strange.
I think that invoice maintenance submitted based on coding categories that we have available before they
Okay, you just
instructed
didn't,
us to put it through
Yeah.
the.
okay.
But then shouldn't they be moved now into the ones that they've established, so they're all together?
Correct, yes. It should. So maybe Ben and I will have to sit down and talk to, do you know, is Demco, what's Demco?
That's that supplies one. Read that all the time.
53,400.
Hey, Ben, I was just
Operating
thinking,
small
could we get a list of the codes and what they're for?
I can get an updated list, because the one I have has like 5 or 6 added lines.
Could you do that so when we look through this, we have an idea
Yeah,
of
that'd be
what's going on?
Yeah.
I should say a better idea of what's going on.
Ask for the detail.
Yes. Can you
Well-
get the detail better?
Well, they should be able to produce one with the detail.
Third column.
So that's,
Hunting and fishing.
so that Demco, do you know what that's booked against other supplies and, no?
Demco should just be like book processing materials.
Oh,
Book
okay.
covers, labels.
Wraps, yeah.
Operational supplies, small equipment, that's where it got booked,
Operational supplies sounds right, doesn't it?
yeah,
Let's see what they call that.
that's where that went. Okay, that's April, I'm gonna look in there.
Yeah, Demco goes through operating supplies, and that's it. Barcodes, barcode cover, book jackets, book tape.
Okay.
Um,
Baker and Jailer, that's books. That's it down, okay, 52,420.
I have another thought. too.
Yeah.
If we could have like the checks organized by category, what fund they went in, we could kind of have a better idea.
That's the detail.
That's the detail.
What,
So like,
say that again?
So like of all of the
Oh, general ledger detail.
general ledger detail, but put them all together, like utilities are coming out of one account, right?
Yeah,
And we want that, I mean, if they're just organized, we could see better
yeah.
and have a list, that's what, I think that's what we want. So something's like for Verizon, you know, I want to see what category that's coming out of, I want to see what that detail is. I'm assuming it's all correct, but I just, it makes me, it's easier for me to understand where this money is going if I can see the category they're coming out of. Well, that makes sense to me. This is a monthly reoccurring charge.
I thought that 3 years ago when I got on the board. that they-
Okay, so,
Like that.
so what you're
Well, let's
asking
see.
for is, you don't want to just see the line item that says, office supplies, well, that's not it. You want to see what makes up the $3,177 that went into other supplies and expenses in the month. What makes that up? Is that what you're saying?
Not so much that, but
But like the categories that the
Yeah.
checks come out of or
Well,
go into?
Here's where you see that, though, is right here. This is the category. This is telling you what general ledger account
Right.
it went
we,
into.
but we don't know what that is.
Right, so
then
you
it's gonna
have to
get that-
go then and look at that account on the financials to see it, because on your financial statement of this income statement, it's gonna have the name of the account.
Which income statement can you show me?
Yeah,
So if you look at the library,
Mm-hmm.
this guy, okay, so, Ben can pull it up, but, all right, so when you look here.
Oh, I see what you're talking about,
This
right
is,
there.
this is the account number,
Yeah, of course.
Perfect.
but then, so.
That's
you-
not very easy
on the-
for us to do.
Right,
though.
on this one, you have, what would be nice is to drop in the title
Yeah. Yes.
of the account.
Yep, right
Or
next
to
it.
sort, or to sort the check,
Yep, Right,
the
By-
check
yes.
this by
The
Got it.
by that
Right.
the
account number.
GL account.
So all
Right.
three go together and then the next three go together.
Yeah,
Got it, yeah, thank you.
so.
That's for the new director to do though, probably not you, Ben.
Well,
I
this,
can get you a list of, a coding list of the different account numbers that we
Yeah.
use. But the documents that I get from the city right now are just in PDF format, so I can't edit
you
it.
can't
Oh.
manipulate them, but,
At some point,
So-
so, yeah, that would be nice.
so what we're
Drop it in a
saying,
spreadsheet and then be able to do it maybe?
I think the question is whether or not the
Here's-
check run can be sorted, by general ledger account, and then have
Can't you drop them?
by GL,
You can,
and then
yeah.
have the
Probably
name of the
it
general
comes in
ledger
Excel.
account on it. Okay,
Is already in Excel.
we need some work done on these
Yeah.
financials.
For us.
Okay, we'll get some answers.
Good, thank you.
The second page of that does list
Yeah.
by.
I'm seeing that now.
That's the actual income statement for, but I can just tell you that there's stuff on here that I know is not coded where it should go. Like, there's expenses relating to Marvin's house that are supposed to go into one account, Everything that has to do with Marvin is supposed to be in one place.
They created one for that too,
Yes, we did.
and it's not in there.
Well, one is, one isn't. The payment of a medical bill that had to be paid got booked to the correct account, but then the down payment for the painting on the house didn't get booked to that account. So, yeah, it needs some work. Okay, OACF, do you wanna pull those up there? So we're gonna have, that's 2 months also, isn't it?
I believe
It is.
so.
Yeah.
So we got,
It's helpful the way we're opening these up at the meeting, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
let's see, this is the regular library fund from, this should be the, through the end of April.
so that, thank you. So that grew, guys, because of the money from Marvin. That was, and that's,
Okay,
that's sitting at, and that's the account that we agreed to move that 256, 245 out of that account and into the renovation. That's what we voted on at the special meeting.
Has that already occurred?
No, because we have to sign the paperwork. Until we had the approved minutes, then that'll go with the instructions to OACF to make the transfer. So we'll be able to do that. Okay, so that's April,
And then the library and the renovation fund.
probably the renovation fund for, that looks like May. That's May.
That's through May.
So as of this period, it doesn't look like any of those recent bills that we approved that those checks have been cut yet. Because that dollar amount looks pretty close to
Yeah,
what
that's
it's
about what it
been.
was.
I think pretty much everything was waiting, I don't know, that's approved from the last meeting, so.
Okay, send it in, okay,
They are approved now.
yeah. Okay. Is that, did you look at May too?
That was for May for the renovation
okay.
fund, and then this is just
Right.
the general fund.
Okay, yes,
I do have a question.
yeah,
On the, let's see what it was, OACF statement, ending April 30th,
okay.
with $321,000. I was noticing that there was donor, from George and Dolores DuPont.
Gotta go to, that's renovation,
Separate.
you're talking in the general fund?
Yeah, that one right there, I believe.
Okay,
Is
can
that-
you grow that? Yeah, it's probably on the next page too, yeah.
Yeah, right there. Do we acknowledge that gift?
The Oshkosh Area Community Foundation sends a thank you
Oh, okay,
on our behalf,
good.
yes,
okay,
yeah.
okay. That was just my question.
Where is the donor city of Ripon from?
That's just, so the process that happens, like we got the money from Marvin, that's the Marvin money plus must have been some other cash, it gets deposited into our bank account, our part of the city's bank account. Then they have to cut a check to get the money out and send it over to OACF on our behalf. Like if we get money that comes in, my guess is that when the funds came out of the Horicon Bank for Marvin, that check was cut to the Ripon Public Library. Okay, it has to be deposited on our behalf in our bank, and then
Into the city fund.
into the city fund, then the money comes out and goes to OACF in another check. Yeah, so that's what.
I hope it's all transparent enough for them now.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I think so.
I do too.
I think so. Okay, anything else on OACF?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. And then the Winnifox, is there anything to talk about there? That's still the balance of money that we could use for computer stuff?
I don't
Okay,
month for that, but it should
that's
be,
fine.
it should essentially be the same as it was before, because it's a once a year deposit
Okay.
that we put into that.
Okay. All right, renovation invoices, we have to review.
Let's see, I think there was,
Yeah.
yeah, one for the, I have all of these on here, there's.
Were they all in the packet?
Some of them.
These are, yeah.
Oh. You want me to read them off?
Sure,
Okay.
these should all be the new ones.
These are new, okay? Ben talked about the magazine storage boxes that were purchased. That's renovation, $5,482. We today just had an amazing group of people a little company that came in and cleaned Marvin's house.
Mark Wilker.
Looks phenomenal. $791.25 for that.
Well, worth it.
I couldn't believe it when I went over there. It was awesome. I think I had talked last time about we had to have that black mold remediated, $4,230 for that. So this is Marvin stuff, which we'll reimburse ourselves for that, and the estate cleaning. This is renovation. Then we have a $1,705.31 invoice from Plunkett Racage for basically expenses on their contract, which is now 85% complete. But the contract is gonna be updated to reflect the new dollar amount that we're spending on the project. So their fees are going up as a percentage of the total. And the last invoice is the $1,133.75 that we paid to have all those items moved and put into storage. We also engaged a storage contract for, I was able to get the storage people, instead of charging us $85, are charging us $50 a month for the storage.
And where did you say those are being stored, those items?
Over in the Lydio building that's up, Lydio Storage up in Berlin, on the southeast side of Berlin. That's where all of that stuff is.
Thank you.
Okay,
I did want to mention one quick thing about renovation, if I can.
yeah,
We have had lots of people asking about, like, what's going on, you know, what's going to be changing, you know.
Me,
And we
I was
haven't
one of
really
them.
had any concrete details to share, so I did reach out to Emily from the PRA team and asked if we can start to share some of the blueprints and diagrams, things like that. And if we could get something like the previous architect firm had, where we had like some big poster boards with some nice renderings of what
Okay.
things will look like. And she is going to work on that and talk to some of the other team members over there and get us something we can put on
Okay.
this one.
great. That's
So,
good.
do you think, how did you communicate that you're closed Friday and Saturday? Like,
There's a big sign up on
It's a
those.
big sign.
yeah, I mean, but if they didn't come in,
Press
It was on
releases
Crackboard.
and social
It was on
media.
what?
It was on Crackboard.
what about like not the paper though?
It's on Facebook.
It's on Facebook and it's on the website for the library.
Nobody
Yeah.
reads newspapers anymore. What's that?
No, we don't read, people don't read anymore.
It's really surprising how many people come in and don't even know that we have been planning this renovation. Like, they see the
Well,
empty side of the
Yeah,
library.
we've been
You
planning
can
this
never,
before
you can
COVID.
never reach everyone. I just wonder that if they're not gonna
If
come
they
up
walk
to the door
up,
and
yeah,
come, yeah.
they'll see it.
Everywhere that we usually publish, notices and things like that is where we've published there, put that up as well.
Okay, we also reviewed the Volker. We have one more Volker thing we need to review though.
It's too late.
This week,
Never ends, does it?
no, it does not ever end. This one really knocked me right out of my chair. I got an email from the Wertz Law Office with a bill for $5,202.50 with no hours worked, no rates, no, just a lot of line items. So I wrote to them and said, gee, I need a detailed billing, number one. Number two, I thought that the city attorney, who is Wertz, was working on behalf of the Ripon Public Library as a department of the city of Ripon.
Oh,
And so I just asked him in writing, and then he called me, and we had a very lengthy conversation. And I just said, very respectfully in writing, I just said, I'd like to know who hired you.
Who's
How did you-
who's
how did you
incurring this bill?
couch that in
Yeah,
respectful
yeah.
terms?
Who is incurring this bill? Yeah.
I just said, because I hope you can understand from my point of view that this came to me as a total surprise. You know, I came back from being gone for 3 months, went to one meeting in his office, was given the file, and as far as I knew, I've been working the file.
did any of us anticipate this?
I thought he was working as the city attorney.
That's what I would have assumed, unless
So-
he told you otherwise.
So, no, so when we talked, so then I just asked him that, and then just said, I hope you can appreciate the position we're in. The perception would be that you were operating as the city attorney. And then I just said, I don't know how that relationship works, if you're on a retainer. And he said, no, I'm an employee of the city of Ripon.
And he turns in hours.
No, that's all he said to me was
He's an employee of the city or
he's paid as an employee to
Okay.
do the legal work. So now it's, so that's what he, so I just said, you know, I have to present this to my board. I'm not sure what to do. So he calls me maybe 2 days ago, 3 days, maybe 2 days ago. What day is this, Tuesday? End of last week. Because I had been I was in Montana for most of last week. So then he called me and said to me that he was given the file by Don, the neighbor.
Oh, dear.
You remember Don, the neighbor?
Yeah.
Gets better and better, doesn't it?
So he said, well, I was given the file by Don. So I'm working on behalf of the Volker estate.
Oh,
And I said, well, Attorney Wertz, we are the beneficiaries, the sole beneficiaries of the Volker estate. And I believe that everyone believed that you were doing this work as the city attorney. And he went on to explain to me that he was just given the file and he was working the file. There was an issue with the will, which I had forgotten about, where he told me that when he initially looked at the file, there was a missing signature on the will. Not Marvin or his wife's, but the witness. So they got that straightened out. And remembering now that Marvin died at the end of November. And when I picked up the file, when Alex and I went to meet him to get the information, at that point, you know, the bills weren't paid. Nothing had been done with the stock, and that's still an issue. The Smucker stock, he apparently spent time on that. We got a letter from them saying, you gotta have the medallion stamp. So that didn't net any results, you know. I've been working on the car, the house. We got the money from the bank. So in the course of this conversation, I just said to him, well, I'm sure you can appreciate the position that we're in, not knowing that this was even coming. And he offered to reduce his bill from $5,000 to $3,500.
that's a little better.
And that's where it ended. And so here I am today to present this to you
I mean,
so that we can discuss it and figure out what to do.
I have concerns that as a neighbor, I could just drop something off at his office and he would assume that he's working on behalf, in a private capacity on behalf of the estate. So, I mean, if this neighbor dropped him off, theoretically, he's working for the neighbor. What made him think that he was working for the estate? I don't get that.
Right, it could be because he said when you're working, when you receive a file like that that's got a will in it with it, you know, somebody has died and we were named, we're the only beneficiary. So at that moment, in my head, I'm saying, okay, at that moment, it's the city of Ripon, department of the city of Ripon.
So if he is acting on behalf of the estate, isn't it technically a conflict of interest to have him even be doing something on our behalf? I mean, I realize it's not.
As a city department.
Yeah, I mean, I realize it's not like, we're kind of heading in the same direction. It's not like we're conflicting about who gets what. But
Right.
he can't represent the city and also represent the Volker estate.
He's
That-
saying he's representing the Volker
Not the
estate
city.
as Wertz Law Firm, as a private
Okay, but we.
attorney, not as the city attorney. And
We
the only,
didn't hire him, right, thank you.
and that was my point to him, was that, again, we had a very civil, good conversation. I just said, you know, as far as I know, and I was the board president, I don't know that we ever took a motion to hire you.
Right.
So
What
what
is it?
happens if you wanna hire an attorney, to do a will personally? Don't you go in and they give you an estimate and then you sign like a contract that they're gonna work on that for you or something? I mean, usually there's an
Yes.
agreement of what's going to be done laid
Right.
out and an estimated cost.
Believe me,
yes?
that's what,
That
you
is
know,
correct.
I've worked with a lot of attorneys over my professional life, and when I got this, I was like, well, this is weird.
We do
Al.
not know what the discussion was with the neighbor and Lund. We don't know what that discussion was. Which leads me to believe that's why he went down the path that he did.
But if that was the case, Al, then, as Lisa pointed out, who was gonna pay the bill?
He's assuming it's coming out of the estate. He's
Right.
working for the estate,
That's
then it'll
correct.
come out of the estate.
Right,
Yes, and he made
which is standard.
he made a strong point, but who's getting the bill now? The bill is, the estate of Marvin in care of the Ripon Public Library,
Mhm.
because we are
Did
We
he
are
do
the
any-
estate.
Did he do any work on our behalf? Like, did we have him do anything?
Did you ask him to do anything?
No. He made, when I went to get the file from him, because Alex was leaving, because she never got the file from him. He never handed over the file. Nothing had been done. He worked the issue out over the will, but like I said, the bills were not paid. Nothing had been done on the house. Nothing had been done with the car.
But he
Nothing
didn't,
had been
he
done with the
couldn't
stock.
pay the bills. We had to pay the bills, because we had the money technically, right?
Well, we were beneficiaries of
Yeah.
the money. Was there anybody named as the executor? Was
Yeah,
that
it was the
us?
executor.
No.
No.
Okay,
No.
so,
And it's not, it also, the other thing to keep in mind is that there did not have to be probate opened, because it's under 50 grand.
right,
So there wasn't even a need for that, because everything except for the stock and the car were transfer on death, TOD, set up so that it automatically flows, doesn't go to probate.
Did
So,
the neighbor work with us in any professional or legal capacity, the neighbor?
no, he was just, I'm not even sure how he got the file, how he got all the documents. I think there had been, because Marvin had no family, there was a guardian ad litem put in place when he was dying. So, what we have to decide is, do we feel like this is fair? We should be paying the $3,500? And what do we want to do?
Did he give you detail then?
Yeah, there's a revised bill that shows the hours. I thought we had that in here
Is
somewhere.
it, I
It's
mean,
in
there's
the
something
packet.
in here.
Is it in the packet?
Was it
Yeah.
the packet, yeah?
Okay,
So you may have saved us $1,500.
17, I think it is.
Oh, yeah, I think it's this year.
I have concerns, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
ultimately,
another bill, though.
the estate does have
There's a
to pay
second bill.
for any work that he did. I just don't think that we, I mean, in order for this to
There
be
it is.
contractual, there had to be offer, acceptance, and consideration. That is basic.
Correct.
And
There's the
he's
deduction.
not, he didn't accept an offer. Like, nobody made him an offer.
Exactly,
He just
That's
went
what
ahead and
concerns
took
me.
this.
Yeah.
That's where my discomfort lies.
yeah.
I don't care honestly about the money, because it wasn't our money to begin with, so I get that, but I do have serious concerns about where he accepted the work. I mean, I could walk into his office and drop something
Yeah.
off on Mary's behalf, and then all of a sudden he's working, you know,
Well,
on something that I had no authority to
So
hire
just
him.
working within parameters, he usually works.
There's also a bunch of stuff in here that has to do with this, dealing with the stock, and there's been no resolution of that. And in fact, there's a significant amount of, I mean, most of those items
So,
on the other
so
pages.
he may
do-
not be done billing us, then.
No,
if-
I told him to stop.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
Okay,
said,
good.
do not do anything else,
Okay.
not a thing. When I got this, that was part of what I put in writing to him. I just said, please stop doing anything on our behalf. And
Well, and now
don't,
he
because
can't
because
do
even
anything.
if I made a phone call to ask the
Yeah,
status
we
of the
charge you.
stock, I was charged $110
Yeah.
to respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's bullshit, I'm sorry.
Well, if you met with Alex, it says, that who knows how long or what they were.
Anyway, what do you want to do?
What, normally when Love does work for us, is it billed to the city?
It
I've
shouldn't
never-
be billed, I think,
We've
if he's
never
an
had him do
employee.
any work for us.
I mean, at several occasions I've heard us say, we'll check with Love on that, so who pays it?
Like a
That's the city,
personnel
that's
thing.
part of his, I believe that would be
He's
part of
an
his
employee
salary.
of the city of
Yeah.
Ripon.
So what made you think this was different?
Because he was working for the estate.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
who hired him to work for the estate?
I understand that, but he was working for the estate. He wasn't working for the library board or the city of Ripon. He was, we don't know what was said with
Right.
this, neighbor.
Right.
And how the file was gotten and how it was handed. We don't know that, but I gotta believe he was working under the assumption he was working for the state.
Yeah, I don't think he acted in bad faith
No.
here, that's
No.
not what we are saying.
But we should have known, it should have been approved by the board that we were on behalf of the estate, asking him to do this. And that's the piece that's missing to me.
We didn't retain him
Correct.
Right.
to serve on
Right.
behalf of the estate.
That's the
Right.
part that's concerning.
That's why I asked him that. Can you tell me who hired you to do this work?
And would we have looked for someone else? Possibly, if we knew that this was not in the role of the city, we might have,
What's the date of the invoice?
This week?
due on receipt.
The date is 6/10
Revised
or
ones.
6/12, the revised one.
6/12?
Why?
So, do we have 30 days?
It says due on receipt, whatever that means.
Due on receipt means it's due now. Why do you ask, Al?
I'd give him a call. I would be willing to give him a call and ask him, hey, what's the deal on this? I've known Lud for a long time,
Yeah.
and he,
Go for it.
but just, you gotta explain this to us because we're confused,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not questioning his integrity.
No.
Hmm.
But I can give him a call or set an appointment to stop.
Yeah, he's not expecting this money, I mean, immediately, it's not like lawyers
No.
expect their bills to be paid immediately, right?
Well, and I think given the situation too, he's probably not gonna be
Yeah, no.
throwing us
All
into
over, yeah,
collections for
yeah.
5,
Yeah. Wow, just,
Yes.
yeah, because how's he going to take us to collections when we didn't hire him.
So Mary, you don't know of any other work that we would need him to be doing?
Well, the thing that he's been working on, that whole process was whatever was submitted to CompuShare to get these Smucker shares was not what was needed. So I got the file, so we'll figure out
So
what
if
it
you
is.
call him, you could probably clear some of them.
Yeah, we'll just find out.
But we don't need to generate any more legal fees.
Huh, no,
With your
no.
call, he won't do that, I'm sure.
No,
No.
I just, this is not, the dinger is not ringing on this. Just,
I
No,
mean, I
I'm just
think-
saying though, we don't need him to do anything else for us.
but
But I do think that a further reduction might make us feel a little better about it. I don't know if he'd be open to that, maybe, 2,000 or 2,500. He probably did do work that needed doing. I'm guessing, right? How do you feel about that? Did he do work that needed doing? You think so, right? Someone had to do it? What do you guys think?
I don't know, Janet,
So you were pretty disturbed, it sounds like you said, it knocked you out of your chair.
I don't really wanna say what I think. Yeah. So I told him it would be on the agenda for our meeting, and, we might want to make a decision about how much money we'd be willing to pay at this moment in time, or to say, we have a stop at a certain amount. If it's not the 3,500, then we should come up with a number, so that if when Al talks to him, he can say, look, this is what we're willing to do. And then we could close it out. Or we can wait and then it's another month.
Well, Al says he's gonna kind of hear from,
well, I think we need to understand under what
What's-
premise he was working on. And again, if we have to wait till we get together in, what is it, June now, July, to authorize the payment, let him know that. But we've got some questions. And ask the questions, get the answers, and then we can have that information ready to make a decision. And if it happens to come up, you got any wiggle room on this blood? Is that the best you can do?
If Al wants to talk to him, that's fine.
You what?
If Al wants to talk to him, that's fine.
You haven't weighed in on this at all?
No, I'm just listening.
but you've worked with Bud.
Long time, 20+ years.
Whenever I've worked with him on personal things, sometimes he doesn't charge me anything. And he saved me hundreds of dollars. He charged me for the first time 2 weeks ago. Of course, I coached his son in tennis.
Okay, so we won't make a decision,
Doug?
on that invoice today.
Oh,
We'll talk about it again.
Mary, I've got a couple questions. Are we gonna approve
Do that?
are we gonna approve the stuff for the referendum, or
Yes,
for the renovation?
yes,
I think we should do it individually.
okay,
Because that's, to me, is cleaner.
okay.
Then also, are we going to?
I
let's do that
separated
first.
them,
Let's-
Yeah, they're-
renovation and estate.
They're on here like that.
Yeah, let's,
Okay. Vote on each one?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
First invoice.
Well, we're not there on the agenda.
Do you want to do that before you go into the officer stuff, or you want to save the action for the end? It's either way I don't care. We can finish this. We put all the action together at the bottom. We still have the slate of officers issue.
Right, that was, so what you wanna do, are we doing this first and then voting up? What's the order on the agenda?
It's to discuss the slate of officers and then go into action.
All right, well, let's do the officers and then we'll vote on the other. That's what we got.
Okay,
Okay,
So what are we doing first?
we're
So,
discussing the slate of officers, we're looking for people to,
so Janet, are you interested in being president of the
No.
board?
no,
Not my wheelhouse, not in my, no, not
Lisa,
my
how about
strength,
you?
not my strength.
what's in your wheelhouse?
The grunt work underneath.
Well,
Not the
Lisa, how about you?
front facing.
I would be interested.
yay,
Hey!
yay.
That is in your wheelhouse, yes.
I am very bossy, so yes.
All right,
You're good on the computer,
That's
good with
excellent.
paperwork,
Yep, that's
Okay.
what I do all day.
good with the ledger.
Represent your
Okay.
name.
that's outstanding. Okay,
I don't math, so finance.
We got it.
Okay,
My
so
apologies, I
So
did not
we-
mean to cut you
are
off.
we gonna vote on her first?
well, no, well, that's down in the action, but we also
Oh.
need,
We're
we need to
discussing.
fill out the rest of the slate.
Okay, so what else do we need, Vice
You,
President?
you need a secretary and a vice president. You two were those people.
What did I do last time? I was vice president, wasn't
Yes.
I? I'll take that again.
Okay,
Thank you. Did you, I noticed it said in the bylaws that the vice president takes over for the president in several situations. Did you ever have to do that, or did Mary just?
I did it once or twice, once or twice.
yeah,
I'm just a spare.
yeah, very severe.
I'm a spare.
I'd be
Janet,
happy to stay on as
you'll stay
secretary
out?
treasurer if it be the will of the body.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll go right into action and we'll go right for the slate. So,
Good.
I'd like to nominate Lisa Weeks as president.
I'll second that.
I'd like to nominate Doug Iverson as vice president.
I'll second that.
And I'd like to nominate Al Schrader as the secretary,
Second,
treasurer. Okay,
and treasurer.
did you get all of those? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, fantastic. Okay, we got that. Invoices, okay, we're gonna go one at a time here. We will do the renovation related ones first.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
Did you see her give out a deep sigh, like, whoo?
Did I die?
Oh, we didn't tell you about the new office we got for you. Oh,
So,
just kidding.
Mary, are you gonna wipe your hands now of the Boca State, or are you still gonna have? to-
No, we'll talk. I'll see through the stuff. I'm close to having everything done. You know, this close to the house
Sure.
being
It's
ready.
the only reason I agreed to be.
Yeah.
I hope we really should vote on hazard pay for Mary, because it has
Oh,
been
no.
quite a
Well,
year.
Yeah. I guess I was just supposed to be here to take care of it. you
Yep,
know?
we appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband too. He's been a huge support, helping me with a lot of stuff, so. Okay, first invoice, $5,482 to the library store for magazine storage boxes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept that amount.
Doug,
I'll second that.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, number two, $1,705.31 payable to Plunkett Racich Architects, expenses under our library renovation contract. Can I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Last invoice under the renovation. 2 men in a truck for moving library furniture into storage, $1,133.75.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No opposition. Okay, Volker Estate, first invoice, $791.25 to pay Rosa's Perfect Clean for cleaning Marvin's house.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? None. All right, last one. The restoration remediation at Marvin's house of the basement area to get rid of the mold, $4,230. All in favor? Oh, I need a
We should move to
people.
approve.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll make a motion to accept that.
Okay, second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No opposition. Okay? That's the whole agenda.
So since you have,
1 hour.
you don't have, the works one on there as an action item.
It
Is that
would have been
correct?
under Volker Estate,
Okay, so we don't have to do it.
so we're not
You
doing
don't have to vote on
it.
it.
Yeah, but it would have been under Volker,
Okay.
yeah.
Sure.
Oh, we wanted to just discuss about, are we serious about changing the day of the meeting?
Yeah, we probably need to put that on.
Yeah, I mean,
next
she
time.
can't come.
Well,
ever.
July would be, you wanna try to make, okay, so we can't make a decision before,
We can only discuss today.
okay, what's proposed?
Well, I don't know
I didn't
when,
think about it.
I don't know when she has time.
Is there any way to send out a Google or a
Oh.
doodle poll
Yeah,
of
let's do
what
that.
days and of the week
Well, that's a good idea.
folks are available
That's
and
a good idea, Al.
Ben, do
calculate
you
it
wanna
out?
do that, Ben, or does someone, one of this staff?
Those
We
monkey,
could set something up.
monkey,
Survey
Survey monkey?
monkey poll or,
Are we talking about changing the date, the time,
The
what?
week, the day, not the time.
Just for this next month?
no,
She
because-
can't ever come, this is the county board night at this time, so, or close to it.
Yeah, she can't, yeah, she would be unable to ever attend in person, for sure, and only could make an hour if we keep, the meeting. So the question is, would there be another day of the week, like moving to Wednesday instead of Tuesday? Maybe the third Wednesday of the month, unless people have, but that's Al's point. So that's kind of a broad range, guys, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'd really just like to
Keep
avoid
it-
the day we came off of, which was the fourth Tuesday, so that no one, we don't have 6 people pick that, and I say no, and then.
So do we want to focus on the third week? Or, I guess
I guess that's the question,
We
do
need
we
some
want to change the
direction.
day or just the week?
Do you have a problem with the last Tuesday?
The fourth Tuesday.
You have a problem with the fourth?
Yep.
Do most months have 5 or 4?
4, I think you got.
No, I was able to do both on those months when there was 5, but, yeah.
Yeah, that's only a couple times. So we moved it up the week. I don't think, we can't go any further up the calendar because
No, we'd be
we
in a
had a hard
different
enough
month.
time getting the financials for today, for the 17th.
Oh,
so-
so you're saying not the first 2 weeks?
No.
Unless we
No.
are behind a month, like having it the first
Nah.
week of the month and then just doing last month?
Lisa, what's your preference, Madam
Um,
President-elect?
I don't have a preference, I can make any night work.
Okay.
Any Tuesday?
I can work any night.
I could
Yeah.
make any 5 o'clock meeting work. Might have other things at 7 that night, but we're not gonna go to our meeting.
I cannot do Monday or Wednesday.
Mondays and Wednesdays are out for you,
Yeah,
so.
And Mondays?
Mondays are out for me.
Boy, that's kind of, that kills it, because you
Thursday.
can't do the third Tuesday or the fourth Tuesday.
But you could do of that, if we're looking at if we narrow it to the third week of the month, Tuesdays already doesn't work, Monday and Wednesdays are out for you,
That leaves Thursday.
so that leaves Thursday.
At 5?
Or you go into the fourth week and you pick, but are your Monday and Wednesdays busy every week? Every Monday and Wednesday, is that tennis?
I work at Walsworth
Oh.
Wednesday. I'm in charge of the meeting in Fond du Lac Monday, each Monday.
Okay,
So that still leaves Thursday, essentially, either the third or the fourth week.
Is the fourth week better for people, the fourth week of the month?
I like the fourth week.
I've said anytime at 5 o'clock I can make it.
We had the fourth week for many.
we had our monkey
Here.
poll right now. Fourth week?
Fourth week on Thursday, but we need to check with Travis and Tiffany.
Do you want me to send out an email to everyone?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Proposing that?
Yep.
So Tuesday, so the only other way you could keep it on Tuesdays, you'd have to go to the second Tuesday of the month.
That,
Right.
want me to put that out there as an option as well, and we'll take a poll and see?
Well, I wonder about the financials then. Oh.
Well,
Too early.
Well, eventually they'll get caught up to us, so.
Again,
okay,
you
so that's
could
an option.
vote the next month on
Second
last
Tuesday
month's,
or
yeah.
the fourth Thursday, right? Is that what we
Yeah.
zeroed in on? Okay,
Hope one of those works for them.
So was Tiffany, she wasn't one of the three recommended by the mayor. That was you and me and someone.
you and I and Janet were
Yeah.
reappointed for another round.
Right. Is that
So
another
the,
year?
so Tiffany
Three-
is the
3 years.
representative of the county,
Of
Fond
the,
du
that's
Lac
right.
County,
County.
which we've had no one.
Did they put her name forward?
They said this is the person.
I don't
I don't
know,
think
she
it-
didn't tell us how it came about.
I don't-
She didn't say.
Yeah, she kinda said,
What
did she say?
kinda
Sam kinda arm wrestled her.
I think, she's also on the, I think, city
She's on the
council
city-
and the library
Right, she has
board
two
or
different
something.
cards, one for
Right.
the
Yeah.
city and one for the county, I think, right?
So these, yeah, we have to give her options. I mean,
Yeah, well, let's
because she has
see.
other things she's on.
Well, let's do that so that she can, join us, because I think that might have been part of the problem with the other two.
Is what?
Not-
Well, we hadn't moved it. They had to resign before we moved it to the third
Right.
Tuesday, so
Yeah.
that wasn't
She
the
had too
issue.
many things
Yeah.
going.
Gary just didn't wanna do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, so we've got the second Tuesday or the fourth Thursday, so hopefully one of those will work. And then also for Travis, because he may, I don't know when the school board meets, and if he has to be at those meetings. I don't know.
I doubt it, but-
He's part of the executive team, but maybe he doesn't have to go. I don't know.
Well, let's just ask her and we'll find
Okay.
out. Okay.
But we did some groundwork on that. That's good.
Okay, anything else?
I think that was changing the bylaws, so however, whatever it takes to change the bylaws is what we have to do for that vote.
We have to vote on that, so that would be maybe on your agenda for July.
Yeah, put that on.
Bylaw vote.
So will Lisa be in charge of our next board meeting whenever?
You bet.
Check to make sure we don't need a special meeting for the bylaw change. You can just have it at the beginning of the next regularly scheduled meeting for 5 minutes and then adjourn and then go into regular meeting, so I'm not sure.
Yandich, what that involves.
It would say in our bylaws, wouldn't it?
Yes.
If it has to be a special meeting?
It isn't a special meeting, we did it during a regular meeting last
Okay,
year.
I
Yeah, I
just,
think- I'm
sometimes
pretty sure.
it requires a
Right,
special.
whatever
meeting.
it requires, we have to do.
To amend your bylaws. I
Right.
don't know, I don't have them.
Didn't we change that so we didn't have to do that?
No, I don't think so. I think we just went with it because it was so easy to just do. It didn't turn out to be a big deal.
So Mary, you don't have buyer's remorse here or
Well,
pretzels?
are we finished?
I move to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.